Good morning. Welcome back to the course on engineering metrology, and we have discussed the statistical part that is used in engineering metrology. In this lecture, I will discuss about probability distributions. I had given a brief information on what are frequency distributions, how do we construct the frequency distributions. In metrology, what happens, there are multiple distributions which are used, or not even in metrology, like in statistics, the probability distributions are there. But the contents I like to cover here would be the need of probability distribution, or we also call them probability density functions. Then I will discuss a few distributions: Poisson and binomial distributions, then log-normal, rectangular, triangular and normal distribution. In this lecture, I will just introduce these distributions, and I will discuss more about the normal, binomial and chi-square distribution that I will discuss in the next lecture, and also try to solve some problems to have the deep understanding of how the distributions are used. Now, what are distributions? Probability distributions, as I said in the previous lectures, is a function or a table, or it can be an equation that shows the relationship between the outcome of an event and its frequency of occurrence. So, what is the outcome of an event? It is frequency, and it is an outcome here. How many times this specific frequency, specific event has occurred? Now, why do we need all these distributions? Why do we need Poisson, binomial, log-normal, rectangular, triangular, all the distributions? These are actually the Poisson and binomial I will discuss from discrete viewpoint, for discrete data, and these will be for continuous data. However, they can also be continuous binomial distribution, and on the other hand we can have a discrete normal distribution as well. But more commonly used distributions for the discrete purpose, for the discrete data, are the Poisson and binomial, and normal is generally used for continuous data. Now, what happens when we had made the observations? We have different kinds of calculations, like we have go, no-go gauge. We learned how to take measurements using various instruments, how to measure lengths, how to measure temperature, pressure, strain, force. Most of these values would fall in a continuous data. Sometimes what happens in industrial measurements, the measurements are not continuous, and not continuous. Sometimes it can be continuous, but it is not just the way we look at the height, length. For instance, we can say, like in go, no go gauge, whether it is go or it is no go. Okay, so I can say whether the product that I have produced is acceptable or non-acceptable, whether it is defective or non-defective. There is no in between. Okay, so it is kind of 0 1 0 1. Okay, we have binary kind of data here. Then what distribution would fit here? Then sometimes there is the interval is fixed, the time space or the observation space is fixed, that out of within a week how many times the defects occur, or I can say within an hour how many times the defects occur, how many pieces per hour, or how many pieces per 20 pieces. So, in that case the time space is fixed, so we have distribution for that. Then sometimes we do not have a plenty of data, we are not very clear about the distribution, we call it is a lack of knowledge or lack of information. Then in that case we can use uniform or triangular distributions. So, we need to select distribution carefully based upon the type of observations that we are taking. Now, the first distribution I would like to discuss here is Poisson distribution. Now, here the events randomly occurring in time Px refers to probability of observing x events in the time t, and lambda refers to x dash here. So, what is Poisson distribution? Poisson distribution here, an event can occur 1, 0, 1, 2 or so many number times in an interval. some event occurs in an interval. Let me say there is some noise, some chatter in the machine that we are using like in manufacturing. How many times that the specific peak noise value or peak sound value occurs in an hour, or how many times is the setup disturbed in between. So we can have multiple examples in this. So but the thing is that in interval the space is fixed here. Okay, I can just put certain key points here. Then average number of events is lambda here. That is lambda is average number of events in an interval. So I can call lambda is event rate. Okay, the lambda is event rate, also it is called rate parameter. So the probability of observing k events in an interval is given by this equation. If we have to observe k events in an interval, okay, the probability of observing k events in an interval is equal to e power minus lambda by k by k factorial. So this is Poisson distribution. So the very first application of Poisson distribution was the soldiers who were accidentally killed by a horse kick. Okay, so this was an example. Now there can be certain examples in for Poisson distribution, that number of specific crimes that happens in a month. Okay, then I can put certain examples here. Then we can have number of arrivals in a service center, number of cars that arrive in 1 hour for service. Okay, another example could be the number of defectives produced in a day by a machine. Okay, then I can have like cars, we can even consider number of patients, those walk in a clinic to get treated in an hour. Then similar, like in the specific time space in an hour or in a day, when the specific number is there, this kind of distribution, Poisson distribution, can be used. Now the Poisson distribution can take various forms here. Depending upon the value of lambda, the Poisson distribution can be maybe like this. So Poisson distribution is highly skewed if the value of lambda is small. For lambda equal to 1, the distribution is somewhat like this. So I have discussed about skewness. I will take up the skewness in detail when we will discuss the normal distribution. So it is highly positively skewed distribution when the value of lambda is 1. Okay, if value of lambda is greater than 1, or it is let me say the value of lambda is somewhere equal to lambda is equal to 4. If lambda is equal to 4, the distribution can take some value like this. Somewhere like this. So this is actually I am presenting k, this is k here, and I am taking this out of 20, like the value here is 0 times and 20 times. Okay, so this is for lambda is equal to 4. For lambda even greater than 4, let me say lambda is equal to 10. It would be somewhere like this. It will be close to the normal distribution. Okay, so this is the characteristic or the behavior of the Poisson distribution. So what are we bothered about here in the probability density function or in the probability distributions? So what is the mean value of the variable based upon a finite number of measurements, and how well this value represents the entire population? So do the variations found ensure that we can meet tolerances of population as a whole, or how good are these results? What essentially is happening, this distribution is for the whole population. Like somewhere did multiple experiments and were able to develop these distributions, like by conducting maybe thousands of experiments. But if we have a limited sample, we pick a sample like number of defectives in an hour. Okay, there is a distribution for that. We pick for 8 hours or for 10 hours. Okay, if we have some sample, okay, number of, like, be 5, let me say 5 defects per hour. Maybe number 1 is 5 defectives per hour, number 2 is 2 defectives per hour, 3 defectives per hour, something like that, and we pick a sample of maybe 10 items like this. Okay, but the population is this, the probability distribution, Poisson distribution. Now how well our sample fixes with the population, how well the curve fitting happens here. Curve fitting, if you know the term, how well the curve fitting happens here. Based upon that, Poisson distribution is best suitable for the events that occurs in a specific time, okay, when the interval is fixed. So this is happening in probability density functions. We choose the distribution based upon this criteria. So what is the target? Okay, I will put the target for probability density functions here. The purpose of probability distributions, purpose is a single representative value that best tells us the average of the measure data. We need to have, number 1, a single representative value. Representative value means that it should be close to the target value. Then this representative value that provides a measure of variation in the measured data set. Then representative value to provide a measure of variation in data set. Then third purpose is we need to know how well the average of the data set represents the true average value of the entire population. That is, just as said, how well is the average of sample representing the true average of entire population. Okay. For point number 3, we need to establish an interval within which the true average value of the population is expected to lie, and this interval quantifies the probable range of this random error, and this is known as random uncertainty. Okay. So we need to work on that. For that, I have just mentioned the application and the use and the applicability of the Poisson distribution. Now next is binomial distribution. Now this describes the situations when the number of occurrences n of a particular outcome during n independent tests with the probability of any outcome p is same. So how do we represent the binomial distribution if probability of the random variable x is equal to k as to be determined, this is equal to nck probability of k and 1 minus p this is actually capital P, this is small p, the probability 1 minus p power n minus k. So p is actually success and 1 minus p is no success. We can even call it failure. Say, as we say, n, small n belongs to capital N, and like it is some natural number. So small n cannot be some number with decimal places. Small n belongs to capital N. Here capital N is actually natural number. Okay, I'll put it here. It is a natural number, and small p belongs to 0 and 1. The probability can vary from 0 to 1. Then the variable x or the random variable x is representing a binomial distribution with n number of occurrences and probability of success as p. So the probability of getting exact k successes, this is actually probability to get exact k successes. We put it small k here. Okay, this is equal to this. Now, it is generally been stressed that in an industry it is not always possible to measure the quality. In such situations, quality could be said to be either satisfactory or non-satisfactory. We use go, no gauge, no go, defective, not defective. We cannot just quantify the data all the time, the measurements which we need to take. If we are taking measurements, that can be a continuous data, that can be a specific value. If we are just telling that whether it is success or failure, these are the most common terms I can use. Success can be accepted, not defective, then go, no go is okay, okay, both are going in. So this can be like if this kind of data is there, binomial distribution is used. Okay. So in these cases, although it is possible to measure the quality, but there is not much time, equipment, personnel to make the measurements. I like to, in other way, I can say that the resources are limited sometimes, and we just need to see whether yes or no. So like go or no go gauges, as I said. So these are known as attributes. So it is actually most applicable in attributes kind of inspection. Okay, number 1 is attribute inspection. Okay, now inspection by measurements is known as variable inspection. This is attribute inspection. We will do this in control charts. I am just giving a brief idea what is attribute inspection. When we talk about the qualitative data, that is attribute inspection. When we talk about the quantitative data, that is variable inspection. So binomial data, it is actually as I said before, the binomial and Poisson. So these are more used for the discrete distributions. There is another term that is connected to the binomial distribution, that can be the fraction defective or proportion defective, I can say here. Fraction defective, okay, or we can call it proportion defective. So fraction defective, I like to put some light on this as well. Like if we say, if the whole aggregate of a production has certain fraction defective, let me say 0.02 of fraction defectives. Okay, so then that means 2 out of 100, 2 out of 100 pieces are defective. 2 out of 100 pieces are defective. Now it is assumed that the production runs over a large number of days and that the aggregate production is large. The day's production is a part of the aggregate production, that is the overall production that happens in a month. So this is 2 out of 100 is just a small number. So this is a sample size. Out of 100, 2 are defective. I can say 2 defective and 98 not defective. 98 not defective. But if I take the whole universe, the whole population in this case, now what happens, let me say if in a day 1000 units are produced, if they are produced 1000 units in a day, 2% means 2% implies 20 pieces, 20 units, okay. Now it can vary from like 20, if the 20 units are produced defective in a day, it can be 19 units some day, it can be 21 units some day, it can even vary from 18 to 22 or some 23 something. So if sometimes it happens that if in on one day if we have about, let me say 50 defectives, 50 defectives on a certain day. Now this is alarming. 50 defectives on a certain day, that means on a 20 has to be average, 20 is my mean. As I said, the purpose of the probability distribution is to find the average and see that do our average fit the population or not, okay. Now 20 is the average and the variability is there maybe from 18 to 22. If on some day I am having 50 defectives, that means this is alarming. Some conditions, in case some deterioration has occurred or some assignable causes are there. Assignable causes which are to be traced, okay. I will put it like this, find these causes. What are the assignable causes? Otherwise the random variation, as we have discussed before, random variation is due to the non-assignable causes. The assignable causes, they can be systematic error, random error. This random error we are mostly dealing with when we are talking about distributions, or we are talking in the statistics in itself, we are talking of the random uncertainty. So if causes are assignable for 20 to 50 defectives have happened, that might mean that there is some big cause, or there is some reason because of this has happened. Maybe some deterioration has happened to the machine, maybe some setup is a little changed, or maybe the worker who is working is not skilled to that level. So we need to find that. So I just need to touch the fraction of defectives with binomial distribution, because these are always related. So it is actually 2 out of 100, that is it can be, I can say success and non-success, I can divide it in this way as well. So next is log normal distribution. So it is failure or durability projections, events whose outcomes tend to be skewed toward the extremity of the distribution. First I will just put the PDF of this. PDF of log normal distribution is equal to 1 by x sigma under 2 pi. This is actually log normal, so it should be derived from the normal distribution only. I will take normal distribution in the end, because I like to explain that in detail. So this is minus of natural log of x minus mu whole square by 2 sigma square. Now what are the parameters here? Here x is my random variable, mu is mean, sigma is standard deviation. This is for the population, okay. Now we need to note here that we have constants here, e comma pi are constants, e and pi are constants here. So if you are performing some measurements that are finite, and for instance length, height, weight, you are most likely going to end up with a data that resembles a log normal distribution. For the finite number, let me say I can have if let me say this is my variable x, and it varies from 0 to actually it varies from 0 to infinity, but I am taking 0 to 2.5 here. So I can have different types of curves here, different types of the level of skewness depending upon the variation and mu. I will take mu as 0, mu 0, I will take value of sigma is equal to 1 first. It will be like this. Again positively skewed and highly skewed. So what happens actually, to give a better understanding on this, think of a calibrating gauge block. If you begin the calibration, you know the target length. You perform the measurements at a repeated point on a gauge block in such a way that majority of your observations, majority of your measurements or measurement results will be centered around the actual length of the gauge block, and some measurements will be larger than and a fewer would be lesser than that, because you are limited with the, let me say if this is the gauge block, I am just using this to measure length of some measurement instrument that is manufactured. Okay, so let me say something is manufactured, I am just measuring. Because this is my length, I am limited with this length only, so most of the observation would be close to this only, gauge block is this thing. So we are limited by the length of the gauge block here. So if we see the realistic situation, we cannot measure less than the length of the block. So measurement results are finite or limited. So we need to make sure that to consider log normal distribution, the data has to be, or the performing measurements that are to be finite. So it may prevent us from encountering measurement errors and miscalculate uncertainties. So if sigma is equal to 1 and mu is equal to 0, it can take this shape. If the sigma is actually the shape parameter, I can put it here as well. Sigma is the standard deviation, this is actually the shape parameter. By shape parameter I mean because it is determining the shape. So we can see that sigma is equal to 1 and mu is equal to 0, this is the shape that is coming. So also the standard deviation of the log normal distribution is determined from the historical data. So sometime we may be able to estimate it using current data. So the shape parameter doesn't change the location or height of the graph. The location or height is not changed. What changes the location? So mean is the location parameter here. Mean is the location parameter, so that determines the location of where is our graph located. Also we can use median, so that may determine the how the graph shrinks or stretches, that can be determined. So for value of sigma is equal to 0.5 and mu is equal to 0, the skewness, as we say that, because what is sigma or what is standard deviation? Standard deviation is actually spread. The spread, more is the value of standard deviation, more spread would be there. So if this dispersion or spread, the value is reduced, the spread would be contracted. So what we will see, we will have a distribution like this here. From 0 to 2.5, okay, I can even make one more curve. For standard deviation is equal to 0.25 and mu is equal to 0, this curve would be further shrinked, it will be further more closer, but will have some like this, because the area has always to be shrinked, but it would be lengthier now, it will be taller now. So this is sometimes known as kurtosis. Actually, kurtosis is something different than the central line. Is central tendency is exactly same, and we have different heights of the curve. Then kurtosis happen, that we will also discuss. So this is the log normal. You can just see the approximate area. Actually, the actual area or the exact area below the red, blue, and dark blue curves would be exactly same. The only thing is that because of the value of the sigma here, because the value of standard deviation, the curve is getting contracted here. Next comes the rectangular distributions. Processes in which a likely outcome falls in the range between a minimum value A and a maximum value B occurring with equal probability. In that case, rectangular distribution is used. So sometimes what happens that we have some data or we have some observations, but we are not sure that what kind of distribution would it follow. We just know the minimum value is A, okay, minimum value is equal to A and maximum value is equal to B. In between what is happening we do not know, we do not have this great information about that. We can say that okay, there is nothing happening, there is a uniform distribution, that is why it is called rectangular. It can be plotted like this. This is rectangular distribution. The minimum value here is A and the maximum value is B, and PDF of this can be given by, this is A and PDF is equal to, it is 1 by B minus A, okay, if x is between, if f x is between A and B, okay. Otherwise this PDF is 0, okay, I will put 0 otherwise. So we just know the minimum value and the maximum value. If outliers are there, we will just take the PDF to be 0. If outliers means values greater than the maximum value or less than the minimum value, but if it is between A and B, rectangular distribution can be used. Now rolling a single die can be example of a discrete uniform distribution, but we are more concerned with the continuous distribution here. The processes in which a likely outcome falls in the range between minimum and maximum. So the most common examples of this one is when you don't have any information, as I just said, and the day of the, like you can see, okay, day of the week of the hottest day of an year is about equally likely to be any of the 7 days, or you can say the last digit of the security number of the you can say the cricket captain or of the various teams, that would be always between 0 and 9. So these are silly examples, but the thing is that the minimum and the maximum numbers are known there. So in measurement uncertainty, when its estimation is to be done, it often occurs when it is necessary to make choice between two alternatives, of which one may be possible lead to somewhat overestimated uncertainty and the other one may be lead to underestimated uncertainty. In such situation, it is usually reasonable to rather somewhat overestimate than underestimate uncertainty. I will put a note here. It is reasonable to overestimate than to underestimate. Okay. If this is the case, we can use the rectangular distribution. Okay. For instance, if we are using go and no go gauges, or we are just measuring something and the upper tolerance is having higher limit or is higher, we can overestimate it. It will be permissible to overestimate, but underestimating is not allowed. Okay, not very much allowed. So then rectangular distribution is preferred. There is another distribution like rectangular distribution, that is triangular distribution. In triangular distribution also we do not have much of data, but the thing is that there is one value, that is the mode value. So processes in which a likely outcome x falls between known lower bound A and upper bound B with a peak value mode. This is used when population information is sparse. We do not have much information about the population, but we have the a lower value and a higher value, but there is a middle value that is repeating multiple times, that is repeating a maximum number of times. Okay, there is a mode. In that case, triangular distribution is there. So it can be something like this. I can call it it is value A, value D, and a mode value C. So it takes the shape of a triangle. That is why it is known as triangular distribution. Okay, I'll make some other angle. It is triangular distribution. So PDF for this is, PDF for triangular distribution is different conditions for that. It is equal to 0 for x less than a. Okay, as we had in a rectangular distribution, it is 2 into x minus a by b minus a into c minus a. Oh, I am sorry, this is b here. Okay, the mode is C, minimum value A, maximum value B, upper bound is B, lower bound is A. Okay, so this is the PDF for probability distribution. This is for A is less than equal to X is less than C. Okay, then this is equal to 2 into B minus X by B minus A into B minus C. You can see B is the upper bound, so B minus X, so X A was the lower bound, so there we had X minus A. In the second part and the third part we have B minus X. This is for C is less than X is less than equal to B, and again it is equal to 0 for x greater than b. Okay, I can put one more here. It is equal to actually 2 over b minus a for x exactly equal to c. So this is PDF 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 cases. This is PDF for triangular distribution. So triangular distribution represents a non-maximum, minimum and estimated central value. It is commonly referred to as lack of knowledge distribution when we do not have a large information or very good information about the population data. So it is typically used where relationship between variable is known, but the data is scarce or data is small. For example, I can say, if let me say if in a metrology lab I am using a thermostat controller that is constantly trying to achieve a target temperature set point. Okay, example I can put here. There is a thermostat controller. That is set to achieve a target set point. Most of the values will be just floating around this. Let me say this value is, let me say 30 degrees centigrade. Most of the values will be close to 30 degrees centigrade. So, you know, most of the time the thermostat will just give 30 degrees centigrade. Like you say, you can set thermostat controller, you can say thermostat control of your air conditioner. Air conditioner temperature is set to 18 degrees now here. The temperature is setting to 22 degrees here. The most of the times the temperature would be 22 degrees. 22 degrees is central value. It can be 21 degrees or 23 degrees. The values can vary, but the most of the time the value is 22. What is happening? The value is, okay, I can say thermostat controller. If I take 30 degrees, so 30 degrees it would be, the value would be like, let me say if I take 10 values, it would be 30 degrees, then 29, 30, 31, 32, okay, then 28, then 30, then 30, then 30, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, then let me say first value was also 30. You can see the mode here, mode value here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 30 is repeated. 7, 6, 30 repeated 6 times, and the value of A here is the minimum value 28, the value of B here is the maximum or the upper bound, that is 32, and the mode value here is 30. Okay. So, in this case triangular distribution can be used. So, when mode value is there, sometimes mode value is not there, sometimes we can also use rectangular distribution in place of triangular distribution. Now, what determines the selection between triangular and rectangular? I can put triangular versus rectangular distribution. So, before comparison, I like to introduce the term uncertainty contributor. Uncertainty contributor. So, what is this? For instance, I have a jar. I get a jar from the market which has to measure 100 ml. Okay, 100 ml jar. So, this is a kind of a gauge. Okay, 100 ml. If I fill the jar completely, okay, then 100 ml water or liquid should be there. But it might be marked there this 100 ml plus minus 100 ml, or it is plus minus 5 ml. So, this plus minus 5 ml is my uncertainty contributor. Uncertainty contributor, that is, it is there, the specifications are these are no specification limits. Specific limits are there on my measuring instrument itself. Okay, that this is this can measure from 95 ml to 105 ml. Okay. This is uncertainty contributor, and this uncertainty contributor, when we talk about the actual uncertainty, I will call it UI. This is equal to uncertainty contributor, which is actually capital UI, this divided by K, where K is my expansion factor. Okay. Then for normal, this value of K may be the deviation, standard deviation. The more the spread is, the let's say this is the value of UI here, small UI. So, this K can be. So, in case of triangular distribution, UI, the value of UI that is generally used is equal to uncertainty contributor by under root of 6, and in case of rectangular, it is UI by under root 3. So, based upon this information, if I use this data, if I, okay, let me pick this jar only, this jar 100 ml, 100 ml, this is plus minus 5 ml. So, I can call this 100 ml as my mean value, okay, or my center value, and plus minus 5 can be the variation. So, if I try to draw a rectangular distribution, okay, I will try to draw the rectangular distribution and a triangular distribution, 100 ml and plus minus 5 ml. For the rectangular distribution, I can have something like this. So, as I had from A to B, I can even put from minus A to A and center as 0. Okay. So, in this case, in my specific case, from A to B, this value of A, this is equal to 90, okay, 5 ml is not a very good figure, I will put 0.5. Okay, I will put 0.5, then I will put 99.5, I will put 100.5 as B, and the center value is 100 here, but I am following rectangular distribution like this. So, what is my UI here? UI is equal to the uncertainty contributor, that is 0.5 divided by under root 3, which is equal to 0.288. Okay. and in this case in triangular distribution I can have something like this 99.5 and 100.5, and most of the times it would be 100. So, it would be like this, but in this case my value of ui is equal to 0.5 by under root 6, which is equal to 0.204. So, if I see my uncertainty contributor here, it is then reduced based upon the standard deviation or the expansion factor. Okay, expansion factor, this is expansion factor due to standard deviation or spread. Okay. So, I will pick the triangular distribution based upon the value of ui because this value is lower. If I need to follow the criteria or the tip that I just mentioned before, that it is reasonable to overestimate if we need to just pick 100 ml, but we cannot afford less than 100 ml, we can better choose rectangular distribution. If we cannot afford underestimation, but overestimation can be allowed. Okay. For instance, if we are like a milk vendor is trying to measure using this 100 ml jar, or if we are doing some experiments where we need 100 ml of water and we even consider evaporation might happen, some evaporation might happen, all the allowances are there, we cannot afford the underestimation here. Underestimation, we cannot afford 99.5, or maybe if it is 5 ml is the uncertainty contributor, we cannot afford 95 ml. We can afford 105, it is acceptable, 105 is acceptable. So, in that case rectangular distribution is there. Okay. In that case this would be selected. So, next is normal distribution. Most physical properties that are continuous or regular in time or space with variations due to random error follow the normal distribution. The PDF for normal distribution is 1 by under root 2 pi sigma square. So, this sigma can come out also as well here, e power minus x minus mu square over 2 sigma square, and it is asymptotic distribution. I will explain it as asymptotic, that it touches infinity at the extreme ends and it is symmetrical in distribution like this. Okay. So, this is my normal distribution. So, to get better understanding, we can imagine to collect maybe 100 measurements of samples and create a histogram graph with the results, like if I develop 100 histograms like this and so on. Okay. So, that we will see that the frequency, if we plot the frequency, we will see that it will follow normal distribution. It can, the examples can be example, it can be height, weight, okay, then strength, something like that. Okay, this is our normal distribution. So, to recapitulate, we did what are the probability density functions, we discussed about a few discrete probability distributions, then we discussed about a few continuous probability distributions. We will discuss the the normal distribution in detail and try to solve some problems with them, and we will meet in next lecture where I will take this forward. Thank you.